this video, we're going to take a look at how to assign one of the built-in Prodigy exams. Everything you assign to students through ProdigyConnect will appear as an event on the calendar. So let's begin by clicking the Add Event button. There's a few options for us here, but because we want to assign a pre-built Prodigy exam, we're just going to click Assign a Prodigy exam. By the way, if you wonder what any of these buttons will do, you can click the question mark beside it and it will give you a description of what that option will enable you to do. So let's click Assign a Prodigy exam. Now we're at the Add Event window, and you'll notice there's a panel to the right that says Faculty Wizard and a green arrow here pointing to this text box. If you like, you can use the Faculty Wizard to help guide you through the process of adding any of the events. Step 1 says to enter a short description of the event, and because this is what will actually appear on the calendar and there's limited space, it's best to keep it to 20 characters or less. So let's call this Prodigy Exam 1. If we click next in the Faculty Wizard, it takes us to the date selector, which is the date on which the event will appear. For now, we'll just leave it at December 20th. If we click next on the wizard again, we can type a note that will be visible to the student. We're going to set date limits that I'll show you in a moment, but for now, let's tell the students that this exam must be completed by the 22nd. In the next step, we select the actual exam that we'll assign to the students. The first exam in the list is the Orientation and Practice exam. This is just 7 questions that teaches the students how to answer the 6 different NBCRNA question types, and is also a good exam to assign to new students to make sure they understand how to log in and how to access exams. The next 4 exams are Secure Comprehensive exams. These are 100 question board simulations that contain all of the NBCRNA question types, and the questions are distributed according to the NBCRNA Candidate Handbook. The difference between these 4 exams and the ones below it is that the students have no other way of accessing these questions unless you assign this exam to them. These exams are often used as a standardized exam so that you can compare your student's performance on them to every other student in the country who's taken the exam. The next exam is the Prodigy C simulation, which is a 240 question exam based on the 2016 NBCRNA C standard. It's different from the rest of these exams in that they automatically give the student a 3-hour window in order to complete it. The C simulation, because of its length, gives students 4 hours to complete it. Below that are the Prodigy practice exams. These are each 100 question board simulations designed to follow the outline of the NBCRNA Candidate Handbook. So for this example, we're going to assign Prodigy Practice Exam to the students. If we click next on the wizard again, it takes us to the date selectors that you can use to determine when the students have access to the exam and when their access ends. It's also important to note that on these date selectors, the date actually begins at midnight on that date. So if we leave this set to December 20th, 2016, that means that at 12:01 a.m. on December 20th, students can begin this exam. If we don't care when they begin it, then we can set the access to begin at any time. We did mention that we wanted the students to complete this exam by 12:22. So we're going to set the date for 12:22, and that means that at 12:01 a.m. on December 22nd, the student's access to this exam would close. If we click next again, the wizard takes us to the assignment list. You can assign an exam to an entire class or group of individuals. You can assign it to a specific individual or selected individuals, or to a combination of the two. For this, we'd like to assign it to an entire class. So I'm going to click Assign to Groups. I'll choose the class of 2017, and when I click the Assign button, you'll see the names of those students appear in the list. If I click Next on the wizard, the last step is to save. If you have done this numerous times, you don't have to use the Faculty Wizard. You can click Previous or Next to navigate back and forth through the wizard, or you don't have to use it at all. So now let's save the event. If we double-click it on the calendar, we can open it up to make any changes, or if we forgot something, we can make an alteration to it and then resave it. Also, you'll notice that The Start Exam button is now enabled. If you like, you can actually start the exam yourself and go through the entire exam to see how the students would experience it. Let's take a quick look at how this would appear from a student's point of view. When a student logs into their home screen, a list of any assignments for the current month or any month afterward will appear in this list here. So you'll see the Prodigy Exam 1 that we just assigned appear in this list. Students can double-click it and launch it from here, or they can click View Assignment Calendar to see all of their assignments in the calendar screen. So here again is Prodigy Exam 1. If the student double-clicks it, you'll see they have a very limited view of the screen that we use to add this event. They do, however, have the Start Exam button. Once they click Start Exam, then they can begin the exam. Once the exam is started, it'll be presented in an exact replica of the Pearson VUE simulator. You'll see that there's a clock that indicates they have 3 hours to complete the exam. There's 100 questions, and you should also note that each exam will be administered in random order to each student. So students won't get the same questions at the same time, and this is for all exams that are administered through our simulator. Also, if a student experiences a disconnect of their internet, a power outage, or some other problem that occurs during the exam, they can go to any other computer or tablet, log back into the system, and open up the exam again. When they click Start Exam, it will detect that there is a system shutdown and will force the student to pick up where they left off. To view the detailed results of an exam that you've assigned to students, use the Score Lab. For more information on how to use the Score Lab, please watch the Faculty Guide to Score Lab video.